And we are live. All right, Brother Doug. Thanks for coming on and having an open discussion with me. We touched on a few topics there after one Fast X stream that I think we should definitely carry over. You had mentioned that you had put your faith in God now and gotten out of having faith in humanity.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I think we have a bit of a disagreement there because I personally have more faith in humanity because we're the only ones that are going to change anything.
no, yeah, yeah.
So,
That's
sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I'll be honest. I haven't given up on humanity. Um, and I think that, and yeah, this should be fun. I think that, and for me, it's still a big mystery. It's something that I'm, I'm, I'm becoming more consciously aware of.
Hmm.
As far as walking with the Father,
Right.
walking with Jesus, and walking in the Spirit. I think that um, for me personally, I want to be um, transformed from my heart. I want my heart to be pure so that everything on the exterior will manifest that. Now, for me, it's a process because I think I still get angry. I still get all of the natural feelings of life. And I don't think that those are necessarily bad, but I want my heart to be transparent and in the sense of it's been washed, it's been cleansed through Jesus and through the Spirit, so that now I manifest that to other people. And what does that look like? That's where I'm at.
Well,
Whether it's in the political thing or the MGTOW community, I think all of these things are beneficial, not so much in the political world, but I want my heart to be transformed. I want it to look and to be that's the one thing that I want to be changed. I don't know if that makes sense.
no, it makes perfect sense. I mean, spiritually, I'm not there. I'm not on that level. I'm more of an agnostic, I think, than anything.
Mhm.
Like I stated to you before, I don't know what's out there, but I don't believe that there's this guiding hand for any of us. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Leading us down a pre-written path. I
sure.
mean, yes, I still do believe that when your time is up, your time is up.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
what
That's the
happens
case for
after?
all of us, right?
Exactly, and what happens after is a big unknown for me.
Sure. Yeah, man.
Uh,
That was my aunt's kind of thing too, was the fact that I'm placing my trust and my faith in something that I'm hoping is going to be in the next life,
right.
in the life that is after this natural one. And
Well,
I understand where people would think it's that way, but for me, eternal life began, and it I think it probably already has been, with the reality that when I take a breath, I'm breathing in what has already been given. I don't see oxygen, but does oxygen exist? Well, of course, because I'm breathing it. Now, if I'm breathing in oxygen, which is invisible, I think the hard part for faith in God is the fact that He can't be seen. Um, but it's like, well, can you see the oxygen you're breathing?
no,
Yeah,
but I can understand the complex, elements that are around us. I'm sure you
hmm
can understand them too.
hmm
Uh, I don't think they've been put there by God. Now, here's the thing: natural design, or what do they call it? Intelligent design. They're obviously two different things, right? One
yeah,
is explained, and one is based on faith.
yeah,
Now, when it comes to religion, I have been pumped full of the Bible's goodness, as we
Yeah.
call it,
Yeah.
by my mother, right, who was a very devoted Christian,
Yeah.
and her father was also extremely devout. Um, Now, here's the thing: it's not that they aren't good people,
Yeah.
but I do believe that on the case by case basis, when it comes to most people in the religious faiths, that they focus too much on the afterlife and the paradise they're promised,
Right.
and only so many people, they seem to kind of tailor it so that
Sure.
only so many people are getting in, and I have to be better than everyone else in every way. Yet
Yes.
they're some of the most horrible people out there in some
I
cases.
know. I know.
Um,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because, and that's been a, crisis for me. Not really is the fact that Christians don't have the moral superiority
right.
over any other person, whether you because I know for myself and me and my aunt's an atheist as well. We both came to the conclusion that hypocrisy is not just a church thing; it's a human heart condition, and maybe it's, and it might be alive and well in my own heart, and probably is, which is why I say, as somebody who believes in God,
Hmm.
I don't think I have the superiority of morals over someone who doesn't, you know?
No, and I'm pretty sure it states in the Bible that you read that that itself is a sin,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
look down on others based on. I mean, it almost goes back to the whole story of Cain and Abel, the original murder, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Cain killed his brother according to the Bible because he was jealous of how favorable he was looked upon after his sacrifice to God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Over Cain's.
Yeah.
And I mean, that kind of, religious superiority, as we can call it,
Sure.
was present even in the beginning of that.
Yeah.
So now I like I stated, I'm not big on the pearly gates. I'm not big on God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit or
Sure.
anything like that. But the messages that are in our Bibles now, and I do understand that they have been changed over time to suit the times, right?
Yeah.
But the message of the Good Samaritan, the Ten Commandments,
Yeah.
the honor thy father, thy mother, and your neighbor, and love one another. I believe that's all been kind of pushed to the side for this glorious afterlife in the pearly gates, right?
I understand that, Chris,
And
definitely.
yeah, I also believe that that was by man's design,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, there are some religions that are based on a specific number of people that will get into heaven, and
Yeah.
I think it's the Mormons. The Mormons have like a there's only so many people going to heaven, and
Yeah.
if you're better than the other one, they get kicked out, and you get replaced. You get to replace them.
Yes, it's it's kind of like, yeah, it's like I uh that might be the 144,000 that they're describing in Revelation, which has been uh heavily misinterpreted. Um when Christ when Christ in Matthew 23 um, was, and this is just my opinion about it, but he says to the Pharisees and to those who were standing there, from the blood of Abel until and all the prophets you killed, and my father sent those prophets to you to try to get you basically to turn from your ways and
Hmm.
back to him. And Jesus Christ said to them that all their blood will be held accountable on this generation. Now, the very next thing that he says, because the disciples come to him and say, "Well, what are the signs of your coming, and when will these things come to pass?" And he tells them, he says, look, they're going to tell you that false messiahs will come, but don't believe them. What I want you guys to do is flee to the mountains of Judea. Go there and don't return. He actually tells them, he says, if you're on your rooftops, don't come back down. Now, he's speaking metaphorically. He's
Hmm.
saying to flee Jerusalem. And so, actually, that 144,000 that is spoken of in Revelation are the Jews who are fleeing from Judah or fleeing Jerusalem to the mountains of Judea, because what's about to take place 40 years after, when Jesus says to that in Matthew 23, he's talking to the Pharisees. He's
Hmm.
speaking on terms of, in this generation, this blood will be required at your hands. Well, a Jew would have understood that a generation was 40 years. And so Jesus, who is, he does his 3.5 years of his ministry, and then he's crucified, and then he is received back to the Father. What's happening is the people that he told in Matthew 24 to flee, they actually do flee. But then what happens 40 years later is the Roman Empire invades Jerusalem. Now, if you read Matthew 24, Jesus says that the temple will be destroyed. There's not going to be one stone left unturned. What's he talking about? He's talking about the ending of the old covenant and the Mosaic system, and he's talking about the beginning of the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. And so what happens is he ascends to the Father, 40 years pass, and then those who listen to him, they flee to the mountains of Judea, and then the Roman emperor empire comes into Jerusalem and slaughters over 1.5 million Jews, pouring the blood in the streets of Jerusalem. And shits, I got a little too wordy there. Um, but that was this great tribulation that people talk about. That's actually already happened. Anyway, sorry about all that, Chris.
No, it's fine. Like I said, I mean, I'm a bit probably out of the loop, and you definitely have gone over more of the Bible than I have, like personally. Like I said, I was spoon fed all the, you know, necessary things that they believe that a person under the age of 13 should know before they go into their mid-teens, right? And that's
Yeah,
where religion basically stopped for my family preaching it to me.
yeah,
I mean, I
I,
remember still that geez, I think it was a day or two before my 14th birthday, because even in the Bible it states that everyone under the age of 13 is covered by their family, right?
yeah,
And my mother actually sat me down with that and had that talk with me that, you know, you're about to be 14, and this is where you get to fly on your own type of thing, and your relationship with the heavens is now up to you. And she wanted me to take this very seriously. Um, at the time, I mean, I probably took it a little more seriously at the time because of the conditioning that she had put me through.
yeah,
Um, as I got older, I saw the Bible as essentially, and most religions, as essentially having great messages, great advice for how civilizations could get along with each other and people could get along with each other, and rules that we should morally go by.
yeah,
But they were sent to the wayside for everything else that was shiny and fancy and, smitey and all that crap.
yes, yeah,
Um, I really do believe that those messages to this day should stand the test of time.
yeah,
Unfortunately, we have all been led astray from our morals, our ethics, and our values.
yeah, yeah,
Right? Our brother Hammerhand preaches about those all the time,
Yeah,
and he's not wrong. Our morals are gone. They're gone. They're
I
washed
know.
away, completely dissolved, right?
Yeah,
Our ethics are non-existent. We now live in a time where every aspect of government, every aspect of civilization, every aspect of community has either been completely corrupted or completely dissolved.
hmm,
And we are now living in the time of me. It's
yeah,
all about me. Everything you should do and everyone else should do is about me, and everyone is saying the exact same thing.
yeah,
In
man, yeah.
Yeah. In the recent experience that you've had in our community, which is not a religious based community,
No, no.
it's a community though. And like I always like to talk about community and how we need it because it's literally what took us from living in caves to
Yeah,
building an entire civilization that now spans the nearly every corner of the earth,
yes,
right?
sir.
And will take us beyond if we can get back to it.
Yeah,
But we've lost that, and we've come to a point now where, because we've lost the fundamentals of a good human nature,
yeah,
our world is now falling into collapse, and we are looking at World War III dead in the eyes.
absolutely. Yeah, I think you're 100% correct. I mean, and I battle with the things I believe, and I I hold on loosely. Um, but it's for me, it's almost like, I don't think any of us came into this world where God and his spirit didn't come in with us. And I think um, maybe that's where we lost touch. That this idea that we came in and we were separated from him.
Hmm.
And I just don't think that we came into this world separated from him. And I think that we go back to him. And, for me, it's like that's where those morals come from. It's like, and you don't have, it's like, it's not Doug saying, hey, you must believe the way I believe. No, I just, and this probably doesn't make a lick of sense, but it's just like, I had an awakening. I had
Hmm.
awakening in my heart, and it's hard, and maybe I am wrong, and that's something I'm battling with on these religious ideas and political ideas. Maybe I am wrong.
Well, hey, we are all capable of being wrong.
Yeah,
But when you go around in your day to day life thinking the exact opposite of that, that you can never be wrong because everybody else must be wrong,
yeah,
um, I think we got a huge problem, like a major problem. And that's the kind of the world we live in.
yeah,
I mean, when it comes to religion holding the community together, I don't know if I can't say that it's the only thing because I do believe that if you took a group of random people who had never heard of the word of religion or a
yeah,
god or anything like that, and you put them together and you said, hey, this is your community, and if you guys can't fucking get together, you're fucked. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like, if you
yeah,
can't make this community work, you're going to all die. So
yes,
everyone around you is just as important as you are.
I
I
agree.
do.
Yeah,
I believe wholeheartedly those people will be fine
yeah, me too,
because,
man.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now the corruption that has gone on, obviously, has just kind of exponentially grown out of control, and the narcissism in all of us has been essentially fed with the new age media and everything,
yeah,
right? That's going out of control to the point where 10 and 11 year olds now are just as narcissistic as the basically the worst cheerleader prep girl that we used to fucking know in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's gone out of control, homie.
Yes, it has.
And I mean, I know a lot of us in our MGTOW community, we're mostly a bit older. Now we have a lot of young guys coming in as well, but most of us are a bit older, right? We still had a sense like we are probably the last, we're both in our 40s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're the last people who went to a school that was basically a religion based school. Like I
Yeah.
went to a Pentecostal school. You probably went to what?
Our
Catholic?
no, really, ours were very secular, but we did say the Pledge of Allegiance. Um,
Right, but that's just something you did. I mean, the
yeah.
school still based itself around a religion, right? Like I used to go to religion class.
Yeah, I was in open opposition to it. Like in high school, we had prayer at the pole, and I used to like make fun of those guys and say, who do you think you're talking to?" And this, and this and that, and I that's pretty much how my teenage 20s and really late 20s was when it changed for me, and it's one of those, it's hard to describe, it's hard to put words to it, but yeah, I still kind of have that thing against religion,
Hmm.
like the traditional way it's done, because number one is because like all the, Jesus says, and the apostle John says, if you say that you love God and you don't love your neighbor, how does his love abide in you?
Yeah.
And so for me, that's a really high standard,
Well,
because
how hard is it to love your neighbor though?
it really shouldn't be that difficult.
It
It
should be
really
the
shouldn't be
fucking
that
cakewalk,
difficult.
dude.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
I mean,
But
it's a person that you can interact with.
yeah,
Yes, you can wrong each other or, accidentally slight them or even intentionally have disagreements with them,
yeah,
but you would pull them out of a fucking burning building if you could,
yes,
right?
yes. That's a
Where
good point.
now they would stand around and watch, right?
Yeah,
Because I mean, if you have a disagreement with a friend that you've had for 20 years, I mean, some people throw away a
I
whole
know.
lifetime of a friendship for a simple stupid slight just because they disagreed once.
Yeah,
Personally, I fought with all my fucking friends,
that's
all of
good,
them.
man. That's good. I
But
have seen that, man. That's an excellent point. I've had personal lifelong friends who I've been still trying to reach out to who won't talk to me anymore.
yeah,
And that is a cut. That is
it's
a
it's
cut.
it seems retarded to me. Like the first time I experienced that, where like somebody was willing to throw away years of a friendship for either a disagreement or an argument type of thing, right? Something
Mhm.
stupidly minor
Mhm.
was when I went to the United States. That
Yeah.
was the first time I seen that.
Oh,
It's also the
yeah.
first place where I seen somebody create a fucking lie,
Yeah.
right? To get angry at me for something that he did, right?
Yes.
And then continue on with that lie as
Yeah.
if it was fucking truth, even though we both knew it was a lie. It seems to be that, well, have you ever watched the show Chernobyl?
No. I've heard
No?
of it. Is
Oh,
it
it's a
good?
great series. Or, well, it was I guess, an 8-part miniseries. Um, it was a great series, and in the courtroom scene, the professor, who was based on the real professor, stated that the reason these things are happening is because our entire civilization is built on lies. It's
Mm.
practically what defines us.
Mhm.
And those words have kind of like resonated with me,
Yeah.
and it's almost like, it's not just governments protecting their fucking, basically face of we can never be wrong.
Mhm.
It's almost like we've all adopted it.
Yeah.
We've all adopted the lie, and now it's the lies that define us,
Yeah.
right? It's like the girls that you see taking pictures next to really fancy cars that they don't own.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's just
It's a
just from
delusion.
yeah, it's a delusion of lies. It's
I know it.
basically what defines their lives. And I mean, we take people on face value, right? Because
Yeah,
we still expect truth from most people,
yeah.
but
We come in with faith, right?
yeah,
That mysterious word. It's good faith.
we're looking at this life that we think they have, and it turns out it's complete fucking farce.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? It
yes,
as a way to boost their own ego or some shit.
yeah.
Um, no, and
Or to scheme and manipulate,
or that, and I mean that's where I found MGTOW was like, okay, well here's guys that are showing you the truth of it, right?
Yeah,
And I know most of us aren't religious. The
yeah,
majority
yeah,
of us aren't religious.
yeah,
Um, but we don't just say it. We live it. You know what I
yes,
mean?
yeah, I do.
When we
That's where
say
I,
we
yeah,
when I say I care about the people around me and I care about men and I care about their well-being, I really do. And when things like your new big
Mhm.
news, right? Thanks
Yeah,
to hooking up with our brother Mouth the Gape Ape, he
yeah,
set you up for a new career that's going to be, you know, hopefully, fingers
yes,
crossed, the life-changing moment for you. And God
it
wasn't
is.
involved at all.
No,
Neither
and
God nor government was involved.
that's where I do think though that because I don't like to segment believers against unbelievers.
Hmm.
I don't think it's I almost see it as if it's the same, and I think that the institution of Christianity, the institution of Catholicism or Judaism is all pretty much segmented that way to separate us from who we really are.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a man-made thing. And maybe it didn't have anything to do with God in this situation. And that's where I'm really battling because it's like, um, well, I'm not really battling. This is a great opportunity. I'm going to go do this thing. And, but where were my Christian brothers and sisters in the last 2 decades of my life when I didn't have an open door. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm really battling with this whole thing now.
Well, I like to think of it as our community.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
community is what helped you find a better way that wasn't offered to you or wasn't even shown to you beforehand by the
Yeah.
people around you.
Yeah.
Now, if that people around you were as open and as caring as the community we are in,
Yeah. Yeah.
how fucking much better would our lives be?
I think, oh, dude, excellent point. That's what I've been thinking about this week. If if we really loved the way he said that we were meant to love, now I think that it's I don't know, it's hard because it's like I think that we are doing that. So I'm not trying to, that's what I don't like about segmenting, MGTOW and Christianity as polar opposites of one another. And maybe I'm wrong for that too, but it's like we're all like in his image and likeness and we're all functioning here.
Mhm.
Um, that's the way I kind of like to see it. Maybe I don't know if that makes sense. And that's
No, I
why
mean,
I got the outcome. Like I don't go to church. I'll never go to church again pretty much. But it's like I do ask those questions. I'm like, how come the ones that Jesus is supposed to be filled, he's supposed to fill us
mhm.
with himself, and then we're supposed to like carry out his work here on earth. How come those people couldn't give me an opportunity? And then the MGTOW community could.
Well, I mean, because our community is online, I will give credits to where credits is due. Our community is spread all over the world.
Yeah.
So you literally have a worldwide support group with
Yeah.
us. Your local community is just local.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that your local community looks at everyone else in its community as their competition.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I believe wholeheartedly that that is a condition that has been put on us.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is something that has been pushed into our fucking minds, pushed into our fucking ideals. And when they wore away our morals and our ethics and our values, that basically filled the place. And our churches have been, I'm not going to fucking hold back here. I
No.
think religion has been corrupted since day two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a beautifully written story, right? Which I do believe it is. It's just a nicely written story, right?
Yeah.
Just like there were a couple at the same time, but some had popularity and some didn't.
Sure.
Um, the message that was in that story was looked at and said, hey, I bet you I can turn this into something that only benefits me and my select group while
Okay.
yet controlling the masses
Mm.
and putting on essentially a sheep's clothing on a wolf,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
our religions right now, and I am going to go out on a limb and say all of them
Yeah.
have a layer of corruption that is at the heart of every one of them.
Absolutely.
I
Now,
don't believe, sorry,
is that
go
a
ahead.
human condition or is that a
I think it's an
uh
opportunity. It was,
okay.
people took an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? They took something good, just like everything we've made in the last, say, 50 years, right? Every discovery we've made, every technological advancement we've made in the last 50 years have all been corrupted.
Okay.
So some things come out of evil. War is evil, okay? The murder
Yes.
of people is evil. I don't care. I understand war and it's evil and it's horrible, but it's right now a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Technology that advances to help people in the future generally comes out of war and conflict, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything from radar, sonar, telephones, cell phones, satellites, everything, flight, all of
Yeah.
our technological advancements mostly came from strife,
Yeah.
right? Because we had a problem with an enemy and we wanted to be able to eliminate them faster, better, with less risk.
Okay.
So things advanced, right? I I can't remember which one, but I do believe it was radar. And if you look at the history of radar and who created it, I believe there was a Broadway dancer who was part of it. Like it was brought on, and she helped create it.
Yeah.
Either way, nothing against the girl, obviously, but yeah, I think it had something to do with her tatas.
Let
don't don't ask me
I'll
how. I
look it
can't
up.
remember, but I just know I remember seeing that somewhere, and I was like,
Mhm.
"This can't be real." And it's like, "No, that's fucking legit."
Yeah.
Okay, so either way, it was to detect subs, I believe. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, and we developed the I believe it was wireless radio. Was developed essentially with government war money
Yeah.
to back it and develop it, and that was developed here in Canada. Um, so another great advancement for us. But at the end of the day, I do believe that we would have come across this, or things would have been developed either way, just not as fast when there's more money involved. When there's blood
Okay.
money involved, things advance much faster. Religion exploded when they started crusading across the lands,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To kill an infidel is not murder, it's the path to heaven.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. According to the Bible, killing people is murder and is not a path to heaven, it's a path to hell.
Now,
But
yeah. Now,
how
here's the
many?
interesting contradiction there is that in the Ten Commandments, it says, you shall not kill. But if you
Well,
go to the book of Ecclesiastes, there's a verse that says, there's a time for every purpose under heaven. And you probably have heard that movie, A Time to Kill. That came
yeah.
from the Bible.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, like, even though when Moses wrote um, uh, the Ten Commandments, he wrote them in a, he went to the mountain of, oh God, Mount Sinai, and he
Yeah.
walks up. So here's the thing, and so he's coming out there. God has brought them out of Egypt. They've been in Egyptian bondage for, I think, 400 years. And
Mhm.
so God speaks to Moses from the burning bush and says, "Go into, um, I want you to go set my people free." And he leads them out. And so they're going along, and all of a sudden they start to complain because they don't have any water and they don't have any food. And they're like, Moses, I don't know why God told you to bring us out here. We were better off in Egypt. You should just take us back to Egypt to suffer. And so Moses, he goes up into the Mount Sinai, and he's, I guess, talking to God, and that's where he gets the Ten Commandments. Now, when he comes back down from the mountain, obviously they're in a full blown orgy.
Yeah.
They're
I
having
remember
sex
something about that.
around the dadgum cat, the golden calf.
Yeah.
And so Moses breaks the commandments. When he goes back up again, now God writes him, and I don't know. Gosh, it's been so long since I studied this stuff, but he comes back down, and you know, a generation passes, and even Moses isn't allowed to go to the promised land. I don't know where I was going with this. Sorry about that, Chris.
That's all right.
I've
I
been
think
drinking dad
we
gum
all have
whiskey
a
tonight.
we all have a different version of the Ten Commandments story. I mean, I don't remember him ever returning. I thought he just brought down the Ten Commandments and saw the Pornhub fucking orgy that was
Yeah,
going on
yeah,
and the
yeah,
worshiping of the false idols and
yeah.
all that fun stuff. Big question: where'd they get all that gold? and
Yeah, that's a very good question because they must have taken it from Egypt because when Moses stood in front of the Red Sea, he puts down his rod and God parts it so they can walk through. So they brought all of what gold they had from Egypt with them.
Mhm.
And actually, the way it describes it is that Pharaoh and his armies are destroyed,
Yeah,
and Moses and the children of Israel, they pass they pass through. Now it's a wild thing because the apostle Paul, when he wrote Galatians, he said that before before that law was given, the law of Moses, which was the Ten Commandments, God had made a promise to Abraham. And God, and if you ever do get a chance, I don't know if you have a Bible at your house, or and if you ever do get a chance, if you read Matthew 1, verse 1, it says that Jesus Christ is the son of Abraham and the son of David. But he doesn't mention Moses,
Hmm.
he doesn't mention the law. Now, that's interesting because Moses is the one who brings the law. He brings the what Paul calls the covenant of death, which was written in stones, which is why God appears to be very angry with Israel in the Old Testament. But the apostle Paul writes in Galatians 3, he says, "Did you know that 430 years before Moses, God made a promise to Abraham? He said, I will bless your seed and your seed to come." And Abraham said, okay, I believe you. God said, Abraham, I want you to go to this part of the world and start, your family basically. And God and Abraham says, well, okay, I'll do that. And so what we see in Jesus, if it's true, is that number one, not that Moses is bad, not that the law is bad, but God never actually wanted the law. God wanted relationship. That's why God spoke to Abraham and said, I want you just to obey my voice. And so he Abraham was blessed beyond measure by faith. The law was given 430 years later when Moses went to the Mount Sinai and brought it back down. Now, God spoke to Moses and said, look, this is not going to go well for Israel, because now you have forced me into a covenant where I have to reward them based on their actions instead of faith. See, Abraham, which is what God blessed, he said, I want to bless Abraham by faith. And now Jesus becomes that same covenant. Everyone who believes on Jesus receives the blessings of Abraham by faith. And so the reason that is, I believe that's true, is now that God has given his spirit. That is the promise. But anyway, sorry about all that, Chris.
Dude, that's made more sense than anything I've heard in religion to this fucking day. Have you ever thought about becoming a minister, Doug?
Well, I mean, and I hope
No, no.
and I just appreciate you listening to me, man.
Well, I mean, I was
Yeah,
never told that part of the story. I mean, I do remember hearing about Abraham, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
basically, what you're saying is, according to the Bible that I clearly haven't read or been read, um, when he had to create the Ten Commandments because of
yeah,
law, because
yeah,
people were now doing immoral acts
yes,
and committing, what we would consider natural sin or
yes,
sins against natural law.
yeah,
Because he had to make the Ten Commandments, he now had to judge everyone based on how well they followed those Ten
yes.
Commandments.
That's
You
the
made
old
religion
covenant.
make sense, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
congratulations.
yeah.
I,
So
I am a dumb student.
no, no. If you ever go to Second Corinthians chapter 4, you'll watch the Apostle Paul dissect this, because he'll talk about the ministry which was in death, which the condemnation,
Right.
which was written and engraven in stone. But for those of us who have received the Spirit, we have the ministry of righteousness. That's what Jesus came to restore back to humanity. And that's what, well, people will say that's what Adam lost in the fall, was
Right.
our was who we really are. He lost that face to face with God. So Jesus, but it's weird because so many thousand years go by until Moses, from Adam to Moses.
Right.
Moses brings that covenant of death. So yeah, Second Corinthians 4 is really what explains the difference between the condemnation of the law,
Hmm.
because when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, his face was glorious because he had seen God. And but he had to put a veil over his face, because if people had looked at him, they would have died. But in the ministry of the Spirit, which is what Jesus came to do, that's really kind of what Second Corinthians 4 is describing, which is what we've received. I don't know if that
So,
makes sense.
well, I mean, I know you've heard me talk about natural law before, right? And
Yeah.
I am a very novice student of natural law, but it's something that really resonated with me, and it's resonated with a lot of people, right? So, in natural law, if I do no harm to anyone else, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I do my best for myself and my family and my neighbors around me and things like that. Um, I am what's considered morally righteous with natural law.
Yeah.
And in natural law, it is not illegal or wrong or considered a sin to defend yourself.
No.
Right. So if you decided that you wanted to kill me and take what I own, it's not a sin for me to put you down.
No,
Right.
no, of course not.
You've committed the sin
Yeah,
because you've broken natural law, because now you have looked to take what is not yours and do harm to others.
yes,
Right.
yeah,
Now, natural law seems to follow literally parallel with what we would consider moral laws. Right.
hmm,
So now, morally, it is not right for me to go steal my neighbor's shit and slaughter him like a dog in the street.
yeah,
Most people would say, yeah, that's a bit unmoral, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And morality comes through the Father.
Sure.
That's why in our society right now, with the lack of fathers having, any type of human right when it comes to their
Yes,
children, we are seeing the jails get fuller and the convicts get younger,
yes.
and because the mother doesn't have the moral law.
That's right.
Mothers are based on emotion,
Yeah,
right? Even
that's it.
and that's just a fact of nature.
Yeah,
Women are based on emotion, men are based on logic, right? Logically, it is not right for me to harm my neighbor and steal his shit because that's morally wrong,
that's
because
right.
they could do the exact same to me. Even in the Bible, it says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you,
Of course.
right? Uh,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember if that's a commandment or not. I think it might be.
No, I mean, I think that you're 100% correct. And it's like, yeah, when you cut the head off, the whole body suffers.
Yeah,
So if Christ is the head and then he represents the Father, then Father represents Christ to the family. So why do you think the Western civilization wants to assault the Father?
right. Because
Be-
the
yeah,
the the old steps, and I'm going to ask us to eventually dispute the whole thing when it comes to religion and just treat it as a storybook. But
sure. Yeah. I'm
it
sorry about
says,
all that. Yeah.
no, that's fine. They're eventually down the road here. We need to do that. But how does it go? The woman is subservient to the man. The man is
Mhm.
subservient to God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that is the order of things. And
Absolutely.
I believe the guys have been using a different layout, and I probably just completely butchered it. But whatever the saying is, it is literally perfect, right? Stick a pin in it, and I'll have somebody figure it out for me later. But even if we were to treat this, let's say, because it's actually facts, somebody wrote the Bible
Okay.
based
Yeah.
off the natural laws that they used to follow very closely when communities needed each other, the people in communities needed each other to survive.
Yeah.
They lived by natural law, because if you fucked with your neighbor fucked with you, and that just went downhill, right? Like
Yeah.
a roll of dominoes
Yes.
falling down. Everybody just started fucking ruining everybody's day.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote this thing that they now called a Bible.
Sure.
God isn't real, Jesus isn't real, but the stories, are based on natural law orders and what this person who has written it
Hmm.
has seen with their own eyes, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So let's say the Bible is the world's first fairy tale,
Okay.
but it's a fairy tale based in reality, right?
Yeah.
So there's fundamental seeds of truth that's in all of it, and it just might be like gussied up a bit to make it more flashy.
Yeah.
Um, these people witnessed natural law at its peak. They lived it day to
Yeah.
day, and right now we don't. We don't live moral law. We don't live natural law. We don't live any kind of. And most religions around the world, like I said, they've been corrupt for decades,
That's
decades
true.
on top of decades. I
Actually,
mean,
yep. Yeah, probably
Back,
a couple centuries.
yeah, basically as far back as when we got on fucking horses, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
started running each other down.
Okay.
But the original writer of the Bible was actually living the natural law life that our people or our um, ancestors had to live in order to have a civilization or anything remotely close to what was considered a decent life at all.
Yeah.
Now, did you have outliers? Yes, you had people that were marauders and bandits, and they would attack villages and stuff like that in gangs. That was present, but it wasn't everywhere, and it wasn't that communities didn't come together to protect themselves or even their neighbors, right? To
Yeah.
protect the travel routes of trade between their neighbors, right? Excuse me. So let's say that's the case. Do you think that we could still do away with religion, but adopt the actual natural law of things and better our society?
Ooh, that's an awesome question. Um, I think that, um, well, um, I think yes, because in my own personal walk with faith, I have discovered that my morality um, is is no better than someone who says, "Well, I'm agnostic or an atheist." I don't have the superior. I don't have. I don't have more morals that we can't discover. So, like, it's common knowledge that hurting children is. It should be common knowledge for most decent people with a conscience that that's an evil thing. That's something we shouldn't do. So yeah, I think that absolutely we have morals apart from faith in God.
All right. So it wasn't the Bible that gave us morals. We come with morals, and we
Yeah,
come with, just like we come with knowing what's right and wrong, right?
absolutely. It's
um
like it's what's our consciousness.
yeah.
Yeah. But
And I
some
mean,
person might say, their consciousness might be different than others. So, but
yeah,
yeah.
as I've stated to you and many other guys many times, I am fine with you doing whatever you want to do to make you happy, as
Mhm.
long as it does no harm to anyone else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When and I don't want you to get me wrong, when it comes to children, they should be the only protected class.
Yeah, I'm with
And
you on that. Yeah.
yeah, and when you fuck with kids, me and you got a problem.
Absolutely.
And I'm not talking
Absolutely.
about disciplining your child. I'm talking like, pedophilia and fucking
Yeah.
straight up physical abuse, like excessive abuse, murdering children. When you've murdered a kid, right? If I
Yeah.
get the opportunity
Yeah.
when nobody's looking, I'm going to open you up and
Yeah.
expose your insides to the outside.
Yeah. That's a moral depravity that I can't fathom.
Well,
So,
I
yeah.
mean, I created this first recording thing after an article that Hammerhand had put out on his community tab, and I'm not gonna lie, it pissed me right the fuck off,
Mm.
and I mean to the point where my jawbone started to tingle,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
was grinding my teeth, and then I could get the cold sweats down my back. This is like, we're talking peak rage moments, right? And
Yeah.
that's where that shit takes me. It takes me to peak rage moments, and it should take everyone to peak rage moments, because right now in our society, the abuse and murder of children is almost fucking discarded.
Yeah, I know. It's like something that I thought about 5 to even 10 years ago. I said, um, it's only a matter of time before they want to normalize pedophilia.
And here we are.
And we're standing, and the normies will say, well, gosh, Shug, I don't know what you're talking about, blah blah blah, you're conspiracy theorists and blah blah blah.
Well, see, and that's another thing. The idea of that should outrage so many fucking people that, you know, lynch mobs. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
Lynch mobs.
yes,
Okay. Not
yeah,
only for the person who says it, right, or
yeah,
tries to push the idea, but the people that like put basically put it out there
yeah.
into the media, right? They should be looked at as highly suspect.
Yeah,
And if our local officials of where these people live, right, don't jump the fuck up and be like, hey, we got to drag these people in here and have a little chat with them, um, with some dire consequences at the end.
yeah,
Um, as far as I'm concerned, go to your local officials or their local officials fucking area and start pulling shit down brick by brick.
yeah,
Um, because clearly the corruption has gone that far, and that's where we are. I mean, we have politicians that are outright saying that sex with kids is now no longer a seriously, seriously criminal offense, but that somehow for us to be moral people, the rest of the population,
yeah.
we have to accept it and potentially allow it to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a fucking problem. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yeah. Yes,
And,
we do.
and this ain't gonna be a problem that's gonna end with words. You know what I mean? And I'm not
No.
promoting or condoning the whole violence thing, but I understand.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
It
It,
is. It
it, it
is.
is.
That's a
It's
part of
like,
nature. Well, it goes back to the natural law. This is harming children,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Therefore, the protected class, I mean, children can't pick up, you know, guns and bayonets and go and charge after these people that want to rape them, right? So
yeah,
they can't defend themselves. That falls to us, even in every law, every religion,
yeah,
every idea and philosophy around law, all generally state that as adults, right?
yeah,
We have to protect the weak and the innocent. Children are both weak and innocent.
yeah.
They are the only protected class as far as I'm concerned. And in this day and age, they are the most violated class
I
in
know.
history.
I know.
When
They're
when
open prey right now.
they are fair game and free for all. Personally, like I said, hockey mask time, whatever you want to call it, Minecrafting them, none of that goes off the list. That's all on the table, homie.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
way
yeah.
I,
I'm all in for it.
yeah, the fact that our governments are condoning it just goes to show how evil they are.
I know. And then you have to, the idea of good and evil, because
Mm,
that is morally evil. I mean, it's one thing for me to get into a fist fight with somebody and in traffic because I was stressed out that day.
yeah.
That's not. I wouldn't consider that evil. That's a bad day. But
Well,
yeah,
it's a bad moral decision, but it's not.
it's not really evil.
No, and it is something you know we all commit acts of evil at
Yeah,
some point. We
yeah,
all do things that sometimes hurt other people.
yeah,
We can't undo the past. All we
yeah.
can try to do is make up for it. You know what I mean? We can
Absolutely.
try to what's that word you guys use? Repent, right?
Yeah,
Try to
yeah.
repent,
Absolutely.
right? And I mean, my repentance doesn't go to God. Mine goes to the person that I have wronged,
Absolutely.
right?
I think
Um,
that's the majority of the New Testament is actually written that way. Um, Even when Jesus is talking to, um, you know, the crowd standing around him, most of what he's saying is instructions on how we should treat one another.
Right.
Um, Now, here's my problem. Here's the only thing that I'm really battling with that is because, yes, I'm a new creation. Yes, I'm filled with his spirit. But no, I'm not morally perfect. I'm not always the moral perfection. So it's like, should I love my neighbor? Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think that I do. I don't really make a conscious decision about it every day. Um, but and I think all of us know that it's wrong to hurt other people, but I do hurt people, and I don't do it intentionally. Um, but I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, um,
Like you said, repentance towards one another. I love that because number one, now you have accountability. Now
yeah.
you can say, look, I screwed you over in this situation. I mistreated you. Will you forgive me? Now, there's the thing right there, forgiveness. Will they forgive you? Because you've done your part.
Oh my God, I cannot remember what movies are great for one-liners, but there was a movie where someone stated that it to err is human, but to
Mm-hmm.
forgive is divine.
Yeah. Was
Oh,
that
I know what it was. It was
Starsky and Hutch?
no. Oh
Snoop?
yeah, yeah, the
Was that
Starsky and Hutch
Snoop?
movie. Was that Snoop Dogg?
I think it was Snoop. Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
love
Snoop
that
Dogg.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go. Fucking A. I'm
it
glad
is.
somebody's got it. But yeah, and that it's as true gets, right?
Yeah,
Now, some errors can be forgiven.
yeah,
Most offenses when it comes to, wronging somebody can be forgiven. Here's the thing that that has a tendency for some people, and I will go out on a limb and say most people nowadays, to basically say, well, I can do whatever I want and all I have to do is ask for forgiveness and I'm good.
sure.
So that opens up a whole new can of worms,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because some things, yes, most things, the little offenses, like you said, are absolutely forgivable.
yeah.
When it comes to seriously ruining someone's life
Mm-hmm.
or taking lives or even just maiming the person,
Yeah,
now you're looking at things that are beyond that point,
absolutely.
right?
How do
So,
you how do you go to a prison when your child has been killed
yeah,
by an offender and now forgive that person? Deep,
you,
deep hurt, deep hurt. You
yeah,
know.
you're going beyond me, man. I don't have
Yeah.
that. I'm
I
sorry.
don't either. I don't either, and I
No,
wouldn't assume that I would, you know.
no. And like I said, like,
I'm
well,
hoping that most of us by mercy never see that.
yeah.
You know, it's like,
Okay. Well, I told you about the article that Hammerhand linked, right?
yeah.
This was about parents starving their children to death,
Mm,
right? Now, just this past couple weeks, I believe it was like now just over 2 weeks, unfortunately, tragically, a little boy was hit by a car and
mm.
killed in a parking lot. 2-year-old little boy.
Oh,
Um, Now, I had a bunch of questions about how this little boy managed to be walking with his father and getting run over by a car in their apartment complex's parking lot.
hmm,
But I gave him the benefit of the doubt and assumed that everyone involved was innocent, right?
yeah.
The
Wow.
driver
That's a nice.
accident, yeah,
Yeah,
and the driver accidentally backed over this little boy, right? He didn't even
yeah.
know he hit anything.
Mm.
Um, I, he is not a criminal. Not at all.
No.
Okay. If it was accidental, it was accidental. But
Yeah.
blame cannot be put on some, and I know he's probably going through hell,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I do not hold him accountable for that. I would question how the little boy managed to get away from the father, but I have a 3-year-old son myself, and they are quick little fuckers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
they can run.
if you don't have him on a short leash, or you have to let go of his hand for whatever reason because you're busy loading up the car or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Little kids can run really fast,
Yeah,
and that only takes a second, right?
yeah,
So I'm assuming at best the father is still innocent as well, and
yeah,
tragically that little boy is still dead.
yeah,
The two parents that were vegans and starved their kids to death and had an 18-month-old baby that weighed as much as an 8-month-old baby, we're not going down no path of fucking forgiveness. We're
no,
going straight to the wood chipper,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we're going to be considering ours because this woman had like 6 kids, right?
yeah. Whoa.
We are going to basically count the lucky stars that all 6 kids weren't dead as well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah.
sad that a little one is gone, but I'm going to say thank God the other 5 are fine.
Mm-hmm.
But these 2 people that allowed this to happen or did these actions, no, 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 no. Forgiveness is not where we're going. And
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you, the wood chipper comes last. First, we're going through a few months of extreme chiropractic. There we
Yeah,
go. Right?
yeah,
We're
yeah,
breaking out some of the oldies
yeah,
because that's what they fucking deserve.
yeah.
And I'm
Mm.
sorry if that sounds extreme.
No.
However, when you fuck with the protected class, the one protected class that should be, you should have a real problem with literally every other citizen on this fucking planet.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
everyone should be, you should beg for it
Yeah.
just to make it quick because if you let me out in public, they're going to tear me apart, right? And they're going to make
Yeah.
it last.
That's hard stuff right there.
It
That's
is.
hard stuff. That's
It,
yeah. That
hey, man.
goes beyond. Yeah. Like you said, that goes beyond.
Yeah, it is one thing to, we consider the act of kidnapping and torture, right?
Yeah.
One of the worst offenses that we can cause on the books according to our government laws, right? So if I were to kidnap you, keep you alive, and just torture the shit out of you for months and months on end,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to a very dark hole, and I'm never seeing daylight again,
Yeah.
right?
V for Vendetta. Yeah.
Well, no, they're going to put me in a hole. They're going to put
Oh,
me in solitary confinement. And I even here in Canada, where the life sentence is 25 years, right?
yeah.
Like we don't have a death penalty here. We have a life sentence that's 25 years. You can get multiple 25-year sentences though, and
Mm.
I'm getting more than I will live through.
Mm.
So I'm never coming out again.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the end. They're gonna throw me in a big dark fucking hole, and that's it. Maybe a small one. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it that the most defenseless, most innocent people on this planet are murdered with literally impunity, and the consequences, if there are any, are minuscule? I
That
could
is
literally,
yeah.
you
This
know
is
what?
a big question, and it's been one of the ones that's been hanging around my heart, my mind for a while. Is justice?
What
Where
is
is it?
justice?
Yeah, where is justice? Where is wrath? Um, I
Even
know in
Well,
my
they'd be,
yeah,
sorry, Doug, to interrupt. They would be
yeah,
wrathful towards you if you had some kind of narcotic on you or actually punched that person that you got into an argument with
Yeah,
road rage,
yeah.
you
If
could
I,
go away for 5 years for that.
yeah,
That person who starved their children could spend like 2 years in jail. So where's the justice there?
I know. And yeah, exactly. And they spend 2 years and then they get out, and exactly. That's where I'm like, oh man, I'm in a crisis. Like of where mercy and grace and unconditional love. Those are the things that I want to see. Those are the things that I want to see in my life and in the lives of my friends, and really just the world.
Yeah.
But then you have to talk about justice and wrath, and are people actually going to be held accountable for their evil deeds?
Well, your God and religion is
Yeah,
literally used in every country around the world, right? Or some
yeah,
God and religion.
yeah,
Most of them are almost all the same, right? When it
yeah,
comes to the basics of it, they're used with, you know, sometimes literally every announcement they make, they basically throw something religious in there.
yeah.
In every country by every government official. Yet every government official has almost the same exact laws on the books when it comes to child murder.
Mm.
And that you, as somebody who's carrying a half a pound of weed, can go to jail for 25 years, but
Hmm.
you can murder a child and get 5.
Yeah.
I got a
Oh,
better idea. 2 to the back of the head, burn pit.
yeah. I hope that's not actually the case.
I am afraid to say that that is most likely the case.
Like if I got pulled over with a sack of weed in the town I live in, the most I'd be looking at is a misdemeanor where I go and pay a fine.
Right, but that's now.
Yeah.
10 years ago, that wasn't the case. There's people sitting in jail right now for just having enough over the fucking federal limit
Hmm.
so that they got a federal charge. And in some places, those federal charges came with 15 years standard sentence.
Wow.
And there are people sitting in jail right now for that. But
Oh.
yet we have child murderers, rapists, all walking the fucking streets.
Hmm.
Look at the teachers. This
Hmm.
past year, what has it been like? 3 teachers a month, generally female teachers,
Yeah.
being charged with raping their students and getting to walk right the fuck out the door.
Yeah. 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 It's
The
like that.
only one they were going to give consequences to was a 64-year-old or 68-year-old woman
Hmm.
because they thought it was just gross
Yeah.
because she was an old hag. And she was the one that they were going to come down on. They let her out. She went home, shot her husband, shot herself.
Hmm.
So 0 consequences other than death, which she took by her own hand. But that's the only one. These young, attractive teachers, they're getting to walk
Hmm.
after raping their students.
Now
Where's the
that's
justice?
yeah, that's what I always wonder, especially with God and with mercy and with wrath and justice. These are things that, am I qualified uh to make judgments on? I think we are. And I think that's why we are here to make those judgments. Um and no, I don't think that people who believe in God or don't believe, I think we're all on moral. We all have pretty much the same capacity for morality. If I
Yeah.
talk to my aunt tomorrow, she would say, "Well, I'm a liberal because I think gays should have rights." Well, I'm gonna say, "Well, that's fine. I don't disagree with you in that. But how do you feel about pedophilia?" She's probably gonna say, "Oh, that's evil." Well, I say, "Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's evil too." And it's not because I have God in me and she doesn't have God in her.
Yeah.
We probably just agree that yeah, pedophilia is evil, but I'll be voting for Trump in 24, and she'll be voting for Biden or Kamala.
Oh
So
my God.
you
Well,
know,
it doesn't matter who you vote for. Like I said,
yeah,
there here in Canada and in the US, it doesn't matter who you vote for. The agenda is going to push forward the exact same way it's done since
Yeah,
day one.
that's right.
And the agenda is get you fighting me, right?
Yeah,
Do what we can to divide everyone, and we will reap all the benefits and live in a higher class society above all you peasants.
yeah, you're 100% spot on there. I mean, yeah, the agenda is definitely moving forward.
Yes,
Um,
and as I've stated before, um, morals and stuff aside, the idea of freedom, most people
mm,
wouldn't know what to fucking do with it.
mm-mm.
And when we had our discussion with Thumper there in the back room, and he was saying
Yeah,
that most people, they want to be led because they no longer want um, consequences for their actions. They want somebody else to be the fall guy, right? And they
yeah,
will follow along as long as it's safe and secure type of thing. Um, and
yeah.
who did he say it was? God, we really should have kept him. Uh, was it Roosevelt? No,
Thomas Jefferson.
Jefferson said that anyone that trades freedom for security deserves neither freedom nor security is
Yeah,
as fucking fundamentally true today as it was then.
it
It's
is.
and now we have pretty much all traded it. We've just laid down.
Yeah,
Um, I do believe that humanity will balance itself out. Like I said, this has come to a boiling point now, and that pot has overflowed, and you are going to see, well, we're already seeing lots of acts of violence. Unfortunately, people turn this violence towards their neighbor, their fellow man, not towards the people that are oppressing them.
yeah,
And that's fundamentally fucking wrong from the ground up. You are
yeah.
literally screwed up by the numbers. And, like I said, we just had a stabbing here in Saskatchewan, right? And 11 people are dead and 19 are in hospital or were wounded, right?
Wow.
By two men with knives. This population has basically been declawed, right? And castrated to the point where defending yourself by Canadian laws is illegal.
Mm.
How fucked up is that idea? You
Oh,
take the fundamental natural law when it comes to self-defense,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
just turn it completely on its fucking head. And now
yeah.
this is what we live in. It is the law of the land right here, right now.
Oh man, so you're not
That's how
allowed
far
to
we've fallen.
you're not allowed to defend yourself.
It is illegal in this country for you to defend yourself in any case.
Wow.
In any case at all. You have broken the government's law
Mm.
because they don't give two fucks if we kill each other. They don't give two shits if Doug, an innocent person walking down the street, has his insides pulled out and strung across the fucking street lights. They don't fucking live in our reality.
No, no, they're counting on that.
Yeah, they
they're
have lost
they're
our
counting on it. Yeah,
our officials, right? And I'm not even going to call them officials anymore. Our fucking dictators,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Have literally stepped so far outside the bubble of everyday reality that they can't fall under any kind of understanding of what the people are going through.
Mm-mm.
Not one of them. Every fucking one of them that says that they are is playing a fucking act.
Mm-hmm.
Here right now we have this Polyoff guy, right? Pierre
Yeah.
talked a great game. Still on board with the agenda.
Wow. So he was like,
And he's a
you know,
conservative.
he
Yeah.
was like pumping everybody up.
Yeah. Oh, he talks a good talk. Here's the thing that and I've asked him this question on pretty much every video that he's put out in the last 5 months. What are you going to do about the immoral laws that liberal governments have put in place right now?
Yeah.
Are you going to repeal anything? No fucking answers.
No.
Not from even like other people in the chat.
No. Wow.
Nobody. Because you know what the answer is? It's a big solid no.
Yeah,
Because
they're all compromised, aren't they?
every one of
all
them.
of them.
All of our politicians, it doesn't matter what face is there, the
No,
agenda will still move forward.
that's true.
It might
I
move a
mean,
little slower, might move a little faster.
I have no faith in our Republicans, and Dan Crenshaw was somebody I did have faith in.
Yeah.
But I think that, and he's probably a good dude. Navy SEAL went and got blown up and all that good stuff. But
Wasn't
I
he
think
also one
yeah.
of the guys who pushed forward that bill where now you can collect child support off a guy from conception?
I didn't know that. Is that the case?
Republicans were the one that pushed it.
Yeah. So
There's the family unit right there. It's all
Yeah.
about the money that they can fucking collect.
Yeah. They do all have to go, and I don't think that they will. I mean, they're not going to give up that, and
Well,
we are fucked. So,
here's the thing, Doug. Okay, the U.S. is considered like, because you say it enough, right? It's just like anything. You say anything enough, and eventually it becomes reality, right?
mhm.
If I were to go out right now and run for Prime Minister of Canada, based on what I consider to be the most moral, just, and free laws that I would pass, right? I would be laughed at. If I
Yeah.
told everyone in this country that you are now free, sovereign citizens of this country, and this country is yours to use as you see fit within, say, like I believe I mentioned to you about, everybody could be entitled to like 1 or 2 acres of land type of thing,
Yeah.
right? If I told everybody that is what I'm going to give you,
Mm.
and you're going to get all your gun rights back, fathers are going to have equal rights to their children, and nobody is coming to tax you to death just so that they can keep a boot on your neck and a wine glass in their hand,
Mhm.
they would laugh at me because the
Oh,
idea of freedom is beyond them.
yeah.
Beyond
Oh
them.
my, that breaks my heart. It's true. It's
Here's the thing,
true.
Doug. I could do it in your fucking town too and get the same results.
Oh man, I'd
And
love it.
you might.
Yeah.
Hey man, a portion of Canadians would like it too.
I'm all
They
in
would
for it. Yeah.
they would love it. But everybody's equal then.
Yeah. And
And
then
they won't. There are some people that will not like that.
no,
Now I'm
and
not
I'll be
saying I'm sorry. I'm not saying I'm
no,
going to take anything from anyone, right?
no.
But I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to carve out a piece of the country they are part of, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is theirs. It's not mine as your leader. It's not the government's. It's yours,
Mm.
right?
That'd be a nice world to live in. I'd be good
They
with
they would laugh it out of the fucking Congress,
it.
right out the fucking door.
Yeah.
Yep, right out the door. And like I said, the whole natural laws thing. I mean, that
Yep.
would be the new law of the land. We would be getting rid of probably a gajillion fucking laws that are in the books right now that are used, right?
Yes.
We would simplify law. If I said I would simplify law, and most of the jails would be probably empty, right? Um, they wouldn't know what to do with it.
Maybe we could start, loading the prisons up with feminists.
Oh yeah, no, that's gone too.
Yeah.
That's
It's
gone too.
illegal. It's illegal. You can't be a feminist anymore.
No more
Oh,
is. But
oh,
yeah, no. If I bet you, you know what, I don't. I could give them let's say I went out with basically perks guide of what people would get if I were elected as their new ruler, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like all positive. Everything was positive,
Yeah.
except child murder is now considered just straight up murder, no matter the age of the child. So that means no more abortions. They would shoot it down immediately.
Yeah, they would.
They'd shoot it down immediately just for that. They would give up everything else, every fucking civil liberty that they deserve from birth.
Mm-hmm.
They would absolutely throw it all away again just to be able to murder their children on basically their own convenience.
Yeah.
So, how moral is your country now?
Well, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Uh,
And
uh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like um I always have to question my own heart, my own morals. But yeah, those things I don't I stand for freedom, and I agree, you know, yeah, if they just on like killing kids, um but that's where feminism ran amok, and it's all about their egos, it's all about their sense of empowerment. But the problem is that they're less empowered that way. Feminism hurts women first by
Yep.
telling them to be sexually promiscuous with hundreds and thousands of guys. But the idea that in the West, that if you go cook your husband a steak, or some mashed potatoes, you're a slave.
Dude, look at that one chick who was up on YouTube for a while there who stated that she was a housewife and liked it and stated what
Oh,
she did for her husband and her
I bet she got
family.
crucified upside
Dude,
down,
she got
didn't she?
dude, hundreds of thousands of fucking feminists just blew up on this
Yeah,
poor woman.
it's
Blew
it.
up on her because she was happy
Yeah,
being a wife and mother.
yeah. They
Jesus
hate that.
Christ.
They
But
hate that,
yeah,
and
but here's the thing.
it's the greatest life they can have,
Here's
in
the
my
thing.
opinion.
They would do the exact same thing if we said that being a transgender deer person was fucking stupid.
Yeah, yeah. I'd get crucified upside down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like, wait, so somebody being happy as a traditional housewife and mother, that's not okay. And you can't accept it. But I have to accept the fact that some dude thinks he's a deer and a female deer on top of that. And if I say this guy's fucked up, I'm
yeah,
the bigot.
yeah. Exactly. How
Yeah.
dare you? How
How
dare you?
dare I?
How dare you say that a man can't be a both a buck and a doe at the same time?
Yeah,
How dare you?
yeah. How dare I?
Yeah, a
You
common sense reality.
you are a new level of fucked up. Like, let's be
Yeah,
honest, you're a new
yeah.
level of fucking lost.
I hope that the majority of society is really not that way.
You might be surprised. Dude,
I
anything
may
more
just
than
have to start
one,
going out and asking questions.
anything more than one, right, is too
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Okay, I could see one person being that fucked up, but when you have millions of people who say the exact same fucking thing, you're you're not just
yeah.
fucked, bro. You're super fucked.
Oh yes,
you're, what is it? You're ultra mega fucked.
yeah. I know. Ultra MAGA.
Ultra mega all the
Wow.
way.
This guy, and I hope I didn't keep you too long tonight, Chris. I this has been fun, man. Thank you.
Doug, what did I tell you at the start? You ain't keeping me, I'm keeping you.
Oh, dude, I'm good with that. Then, man, I'm having fun talking to you.
Oh, this is
I
gonna be great.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't. I'll get up at 1 tomorrow. I'm gonna have a 4-day work week this week, and then be off this weekend, and I got 3 more weeks, and then heading to Kansas to start railroad training.
Nice.
So that's pretty fucking badass. I'm ecstatic, man, and it's all because of this damn community, and it's awesome. And now
Yeah.
I've appreciated you guys, man. You're good people, and religious, non-religious, whatever. It doesn't bother me a bit. Um, you
Well, like
know,
I said, my brother, I have known a lot of religious people in my life, right?
yeah,
And they haven't done anything without there being something for them in the end,
I know. I've watched
even if it
that
is
too.
just clout.
Ah,
But
I've watched that too. I'm just trying to figure out how to get back to the um the core genuineness of what it is, and it'll probably be something I'll be discovering for the rest of my days here. Because I really, really want to know what it means. And I don't think it's just about afterlife stuff. I think it really is important how we treat each other here.
yeah, this life is the one that matters, my friend.
Yeah.
And you
Mm.
know what? This life is not a destination, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when we lost our sense of community, when we lost our sense of caring for others, when we lost our morals, values, and ethics, and our natural law, we
Hmm.
lost everything.
Yeah. Mm.
Every fucking thing. All we can do now is try to reclaim it.
Yeah.
And I've had disagreements with people. Fuck, I had disagreements with people tonight. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's a daily fucking thing. I
Yeah.
still went to that same person and told him, hey, brother, I still love you no matter what.
Absolutely.
And you
That's
know
what you
what?
have to do.
If he wants to be mad at me forever, let him be mad at me forever.
Yeah.
That's his choice. That's the weight he carries with him. But we
Yeah.
can have disagreements any day of the week and come back tomorrow and start all over.
That's how I feel about it too. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever
That's how
been,
you have a civilization.
what the hell is a civilization?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's like, I'll say, "Hey, Jesus is king." And somebody will say, "No, no, he's a cunt or he's not anybody." And I'll say, "Well, I disagree with you. And I definitely don't think he's a cunt." Um, but back in my really, I guess I would say, black metal days back before I believed, yeah, I was so angry at religion and Christians that I had a shirt that said that. I wore it around,
Yeah.
and it didn't go well for me. But I
Uh-uh.
didn't realize, I was like, man, wait a second, when he touched my heart, and then this is going to be mysterious, and I know I won't go there, and I don't want to offend you by any means, but when he touched my heart, when the Spirit touched my heart, and I knew it, I was like, oh my goodness gracious, you're not anything like I thought you were. You're nothing like these people.
Uh,
Like, you
you
know,
know, my man, we all have epiphanies in our lives, right? Those moments where, unless you're living a very sheltered life,
yeah,
we are all going to have moments in our lives where our fundamental thinking on something might shift
yeah,
dramatically,
yeah.
right? I'm not saying that because I'm an atheist or an agnostic or as gnostic, whatever they claim.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
not big on religion,
No, it's
but
cool.
I'm not saying that the idea of death doesn't fear me. We all fear death. We all have fear. It's not something to be ashamed of.
No.
Fear is what kept us alive in some cases,
Yeah.
right? Now, when you get to the point where your fear stops you from actions, now you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Our ancestors feared the giant beasts that they used to fight off from their caves, but they fought them off with every ounce of their might, fear aside. When you
Mm.
overcome that fear, it's just like breaking a fucking chain that's been holding you down,
Yeah.
right? Um, right now,
Yes.
we have a society, or what we consider a society, of people who are afraid to speak out against things that they don't agree with
Yeah.
simply because they will be mocked and shunned and hated and spit
Mhm.
at by the other people surrounding them.
Yeah.
And it's it's gotten to the point, man, where like even the idea of standing up for something that's right, and moral and just is too much.
Yeah.
They're like the people that stood around during, the occupation of the Nazi party in their countries, where they would just walk into a town, select a group of people, right? Have
Yeah.
the rest of the village surround, and they would just hang them. Not because
Yeah.
they did anything, just because they were trying to send a message. And the
Oh
people
yeah.
stood around and watched.
Yeah. This is definitely not new.
That's not
Yeah.
new.
No.
And I understand everybody wants to live, man. Nobody wants to face the hangman's noose. Nobody wants to be shot in the street or stabbed or whatever the case may be. But here's the thing, we just watched 11 people fucking die from that alone,
Yeah.
and 19 more go to hospital. It can happen anywhere at any time. So why are you afraid of certain people coming in and doing it? It
Yeah.
can
That's a.
happen.
Yeah.
If
I
you
wonder. Yeah.
yeah, if you allow these evil people to continue on and fester and corrupt and manipulate and destroy our society and our communities and our own households, right? And you do nothing, you're part of the problem.
Yeah. Hmm.
100% a part of the problem.
Absolutely.
And then religion ain't gonna fucking forgive you for that. Nobody should
No.
forgive you for that.
Well, it's if you go back into history, it's why if Jesus is who he says he is, in Matthew 23, he tells them, from Abel, which was slain by Cain, from Abel until um, the last prophets, he said to him, "My father sent you these prophets, and you didn't listen, and you executed them,
Mm.
and now you're going to execute me." And he tells him, he said, "This blood will be avenged. This blood will be held accountable on your hands." And I mean, even in a non-religious perspective, it's kind of the same thing that we're looking at today. It's who is going to be willing. But I understand with Undead Chronic and that channel, they say, no, I'm not dying for this country. I'm not dying for a country that hates me. And so
No more you shouldn't.
I respect and understand that. I, I agree with them, but it almost seems like history is repeating itself.
Okay,
It,
what
yeah.
when they say that they won't die for this country,
Mm-hmm.
that means, and they did explain it, they won't die for this government,
Yes. Yeah.
but we would all die for our country.
Yeah.
And our government might be the ones that we have to fight against.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why it's written into your guys's what is it? Declaration of Independence, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that what the Second Amendment was for?
Yeah. Our rights are inalienable, which means that they were given to us. And I think that all of creation is this way, every human being on the face of the planet. But yeah, we have forsaken those freedoms.
Yeah.
And
Your government is now using your
yeah.
inalienable rights as toilet paper.
Yes. It's not just an assault on us. And that's why I say they want to confuse the genders, and tell boys they can be girls and really go full blown and cut off genitalia and do all these debaucherous things. It's not just an assault on humanity, it's an assault on the creator of humanity. And I always kind of wonder, if and when that's going to stop. But that's kind of a human history thing. That's
Well,
been going on probably for civilizations.
that stops when people say it stops.
Yeah, yeah,
And I mean, like I said, fortunately in your country, militias are legal.
yeah.
Here, a militia is illegal,
Wow.
right? Um, Now, the problem is that even with the militia that I've met, they're no better than marauders. That's not
Hmm.
all of them, right? I'm sure some of them out there have. If you have a militia, there should be absolutely 100% a moral code that you have to stick by,
Hmm.
because anything outside of a moral code, right, which is generally following like the natural laws and things of that nature, anything outside of that, and you are just as bad as that tyrannical government.
Hmm.
Our
Because you're,
morals,
yeah,
our morals is what held us together. Our community is what held us together. The
that's it.
glue has been worn away. So we have to reestablish it ourselves, because our immoral dictatorship government officials, they don't have the capacity to do it. They
No,
don't have the understanding, they don't have the mental fortitude, they don't have the moral fortitude.
God.
My prime minister and every person in my government, right? Which is what they say, they're our government,
Yeah.
right? Are corrupt as fuck.
Yeah.
So is it still a government?
Oh, I would say no if it's not ran by us, the people.
It's not ran by us and it's not ran for us.
No.
And a gentleman just lost a court case stating that, where the judge stated the government is not here to protect you, the people, or represent you. It is here to protect the government.
Hmm.
Remember how I said judges were included in that?
Yeah.
Where do you think most politicians come from? They're
From
usually former judges.
yeah.
Most mayors, former judges.
Yeah, like
It's
your farmer's not going to be a judge or not going to be in Congress most likely.
used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Used to be. Even our founding fathers used to be fucking actual businessmen or workers, and then they used to represent their government officials position when they were required to.
Mm.
That was a duty to the people of the country,
Yeah.
to their community and their country. That was a service when it was moral men running it. What do you got now? Now we have lifelong politicians. Morals are so fucking beyond them. There is no God, no God out there, as far as I can tell,
Yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
gonna look at these motherfuckers, if they're real, right? Is
Sure.
gonna
Yeah.
look at these people and say, despite everything you've done, I'm gonna forgive you. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your God will not forgive them, and
That's
he shouldn't.
yeah. That's yeah, that's been a heavy battle in my beliefs of, for sure, because I number one I recognize that um I'm not the first person who lived, and so perhaps Isaiah and uh, Ezekiel and Hosea and Habakkuk, Malachi, these guys were talking about things that were going to happen in the future. And then you fast forward into the New Testament, you have John and Paul and Peter, and they're looking backwards at things that are happening. But I keep getting, it's all, I understand like what you're saying is really objective and applicable to what could actually make changes. And so that's where I want to, I want to see that there. And then I'm like, so I keep going back to the Bible, or I keep going back to, yeah, basically the Bible. And I'm looking at these things and I'm trying to evaluate them in my heart and grab some sort of understanding about what these men are saying. And I'm still in that quest. The biggest thing for me now is that, yes, I recognize the world as evil. And I don't think that it was any different back then. Like, I think that it's always been that way. And I'm always looking for ways to improve it. But who am I to improve it? I'm just Doug. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well,
I'm
you're
just,
just Doug now.
yeah,
Here's the thing, though, Doug. You might be an individual, but you can affect multiple lives around you
yeah,
in a positive way.
yeah.
Then they can affect multiple lives around them in a positive way. The whole pay it forward kind of concept,
Mm-hmm.
or the good Samaritan concept, this goes back
Yeah,
to the stories of the
yeah,
Bible and the messages within it
yeah,
that led to keeping people good,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
If we could spread that like cancer, it'd be fucking fantastic. But we can't
Yeah,
seem to do that. All we can seem to do is spread negative shit,
yeah.
right? All we can spread in our country, in the Western world, is oppression of men, oppression of everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and glory to the fucking government,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
let's hate each other because I want to put fucking, unicorn fucking horns up my asshole, right?
Yeah,
And call
yeah,
myself a fucking unicorn pinata
yeah.
because I'm somewhat special,
Mm.
in some weird way. It goes back to that we keep looking inwards. It's all about me, 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 me. No matter who you
Mm-hmm.
talk to, it's all about me, 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 me.
Yes, that's right.
So now
It
take
is.
somebody
Yeah.
like yourself, who I would consider like, you know, an old soul,
Man,
right?
thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. I like to consider myself an old soul too, but you're a good person, Doug. Um, let's take people like you and promote that idea,
Mhm.
right? Of
Yeah.
being better to one another, being more connected to our community, and not just fucking saying it for clout or, because the camera's on or some shit,
I
but
know.
actions, not
Yeah.
words, actions.
Yep.
Actions that actually fucking do something.
Yes. That's my greatest thing about this whole experience. And not, you know, like I
Well, we
said,
did.
since I
We,
came into this community,
we're
action has taken me to the next phase of life, which will be a very rewarding one for me.
well.
Uh,
Clearly, we all need to be canceled then.
yeah, yeah, like you just made a man's life better.
Yeah,
you know,
fucking cancel us.
so,
I'm gonna
you know,
flag my own videos and everything and shut us all down.
yeah, this me, and I'm probably just as guilty of it as anybody else. Um, I don't know, man. I'm trying to be optimistic for us, but you know, I go back to I go back to things that are mysterious, that are not very on paper objectionable realities.
Mm.
And it's I don't have any explanations. I don't have any solutions.
Well, brother, a solution doesn't have to be world changing right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, we change something for one person, yourself, in a group together
Yeah.
with people from all around the world, from all different aspects, from all different places, and with all different backgrounds.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that as a positive that we can throw out into the ether, right?
Yeah.
And I know we generally stick to a pretty straightforward agenda of what, our MGTOW content is about.
Yeah.
I think we should expand on it and grow and look for ways to actually contribute action to positive outcomes, like
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
Um, our good brother, you know, oh geez,
Ape?
uh, no, not Ape,
No.
but Ape's a great guy. I think he did time me out once there the other night, so he's a
Yeah.
bastard for that.
Yeah.
But Garuda Ghost talks about MGTOW and how it's not evolving, right?
Yeah.
And halfway, I want to agree with him.
Yeah.
But what we did, together that one night on a live stream, that's now affected your life positively. Well,
Yeah.
at least fingers crossed, it's positive.
Yeah, yeah, it seems to be happening, and
Right.
even if it was to derail now and my background check comes back bad, still the experience and the door that was opened is totally positive.
Well, I'm hoping you've been a good boy.
Yeah,
But that kind of evolution in MGTOW, right? And in the red bill or the manosphere community, whatever you want to call it, right?
yeah,
That type of positive outcome is what we should evolve into.
yeah,
Not just messages. I mean, the messages do help, right? The
yeah.
information helps, and that's all it took was a few bits of information. Nobody even had to get off their ass. You know what I
No,
mean? Other than you.
no, no. Yeah, exactly.
But
And yeah,
cost him nothing but few minutes of his time, and you've now found the way to improve your life.
yeah,
That's
and
what we should evolve into.
it's an open heart, willing to be that person, and it's I think there's so many more people in the world who are like that than are not.
Yeah,
Um and so yeah, it's just like, you know, it takes, it's like with the whole atheism thing, I look at it and I say, well, wait a second, and I understand, but and but how did this happen? And I know it's humans, but I think he wants to participate with us. That's like and religion really kind of separates us, but it's like, man, when people actually put their best hearts into it, you're going to find more good than bad.
if people tried,
Yeah.
just try it out for a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If everyone was trying to give a helping hand to people that they could, whether it be around them or across the world, right?
Mhm.
Like I said, everything from advice or could spare a buck here and there, you
Mhm.
know, just do it, try it for a day, man, and see what positive results will come out of it. Some of us
Yeah.
might end up with nothing, right? Some
Yeah.
of us might end up with negative results because who knows, maybe they get stabbed, right?
Exactly. That's a good point.
But people got stabbed all the time. Let's look at Saskatchewan again, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I could have not gotten anything, but I can't say it that I didn't get anything. Um, but to see a manifestation, to see a result that was, of somebody willing to put themselves out there and say, "Yeah, man, and I remember it was me, you, and Gape and Agape on the same stream, and you were encouraging me too. You're like, look, if railroad doesn't work out, don't give up. There's other options.
There are.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to hang on to this because in that moment and in several moments in my life, I was like, I'm pretty much done. Not done to where like I was gonna, end my life, but I was just like, I'm gonna be at this factory. I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna, my hours are getting cut now, and all this stuff's going on, and I'm gonna be poor forever, and uh, and I was just like accepting it. I don't know if that probably sounds like
No, no,
again,
that's exactly it. We've learned to accept disappointment, and we've learned to accept our community is gone.
yeah,
We've learned to accept that
mm,
we've lost a lot of things. Just accepting it.
hmm,
It's the defeatist aspect, right? And
yeah,
brother, I've been in some fucking low places, like like I've explained it to you before. I've looked into the void,
Yeah.
right? And I saw nothing stare back,
Yeah.
right? Nothing but fucking darkness stare back. And more than once, I could have an episode of that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I know for a fact, right, that all I have to do is pick up the phone and one of these guys is going to be here for me.
That's awesome. Does that help?
I haven't called out to anyone, but basically I just kind of like hung out in their streams and stuff like that. And yeah, that does help.
Yeah, me
Dude,
too.
the MGTOW community saved me more times than I can count.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm still going through my trauma here because I'm still on year 5 where I haven't seen my 3 children,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So this doesn't go away. This isn't a bad afternoon. This
No.
is something that follows me around. It's me dealing with a demon,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, uh, I wanted to go into a bit of a series, I guess, where we had conversations about dealing with our demons because we all have them,
Yeah.
right? These demons that are sometimes aid, sometimes anchor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
Sometimes
yes.
we need them, and other times if we feed them enough, they will destroy us, right? Like we all have a demon of anger,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That if we feed it enough, we will go nuts and we will go on fucking like murder rampages.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh,
We have
yes.
the demon of sorrow. We have a demon of despair.
Mm-hmm.
These demons are with us, and
I know. Yeah.
they're our subconscious basically trying to deal with everything. And like I said, normally these are the same demons that protect us as well, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So how do we control them before they control us?
Mm.
Long story.
Oh,
Right?
yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I actually downloaded a image that I might be able to share here, but this was the. Let me find it. Let me find it. No, it's not there. Did I do it on the laptop? Hmm. I know I have an image somewhere, but yeah. Um, Sorry, I got off track.
No, man. No, this has been great talking to you, Chris, man. You're awesome, dude.
No, you're
Um,
awesome, dude.
I'm on your side, man, and you guys I hope Indy's doing good. I haven't heard from Indy.
Indy
But
was on with me for my first stream on the channel, bro.
yeah,
On the new channel.
I stumbled in there. I think it probably was quite a bit a long time after that, but I remember a couple of very drunken nights and stumbling and bumbling. And I remember one night, you guys, hey, Doug, you need to go to sleep.
So
Yeah.
I found it. I found it. This was the image I wanted to use. Oh, no, no. I got it on a bigger picture here. Hang on. Yeah, shared the wrong thing. Chrome tab, image. So yeah, this was the image I was going to use for the thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
To start discussing in a series about our demons and how we need to to know that they exist and accept that they exist and learn to deal with them. Like I said, that the demon of hatred, rage, or sorrow.
Yeah.
A lot of men lose their lives to suicide, and I've been trying to push that message since day one because I
Yeah.
was there, man. I was on that fucking edge where I sat with my demon,
Yeah.
and he was winning,
Mm.
right?
Isn't that something? God.
Truly is.
Yeah.
So,
How do you pull yourself out of that? You know. Mm.
well, it ain't easy.
Mm-mm.
It ain't easy to be cheesy, buddy.
What's it called? Embrace the suck.
Yeah,
Uh,
embrace the suck.
I used to walk outside and be so full of anxiety and depression and rage, and some of those things are still trying to resurface, but just betrayal and unforgiveness and those type of things that I started to see, and I became so upset that and also being homeless before and
Mhm.
realizing there was nothing I could do about it. It wasn't that I ever was lazy, um and here I am today getting ready to start this new journey. But it's like, why were all those moments necessary? What were they producing? What were they working in me? And I think for each one of us individually, we can only come to those answers. I mean, with help of our friends, of course, but I think those answers are going to come from, well, I would say God, but also, within ourselves. I don't know if
Well,
that makes sense.
Doug, we are absolutely 100% tribal creatures.
Yeah.
Okay, we are no different than any pack animal out there.
Yeah.
When we suffer alone and in silence, the odds of us losing skyrockets
Yeah.
because we are left alone with our demon and it's being fed endlessly, right? So
Yeah.
the idea, and I think I've stated it to you and a few other guys before, there are things that I will talk about with you guys that I cannot talk about with my closest fucking brother
Wow.
because he will not understand.
Yeah. Hmm.
They just will not understand. It doesn't matter if it's a person down the street or, you know, the people that I call friends here that are around me. uh, There are some, most of them, they just don't understand, and I don't even bother to talk about them or talk
Yeah.
about it with them,
Yeah.
right? And there's there's a sense of clarity when you understand that. Like when you realize that it may not be the people closest to you that will ever understand fully what you're trying to say,
Yeah.
right? But there are other people that you don't know from a hole in the ground,
Mhm.
right? That will
Oh yeah.
absolutely understand 100% what you're doing or what's going through your head.
Wow. That's awesome.
Look at how successful people like Terrence Popp are,
Yeah.
right? Terrence Pops can relate to former soldiers who go through the PTSD of warfare.
Mm-hmm.
He can relate to soldiers that have come home from war or been injured and have found that, you know, their wife is no longer happy and she's about to steal his kids and his money while he's going through his PTSD. She's throwing a whole new one on there
Oh yeah.
because divorce and separation from your children is absolutely an act of PTSD causing violence towards a person.
Yeah.
A mental, you are basically putting them through a warfare that they can't even legally win most times, and
Yeah.
they know it. So the reason his number is so high for people saved from eating their own gun, right? Which personally I think might be higher than the fucking suicide hotline,
Yeah.
is because he can relate. Not that I had a bad day once and I can relate.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
I've
Yeah,
been there, motherfucker.
yeah.
I
Uh,
was I was living out of my car. I was separated from my children. My job was paying my ex-wife everything I fucking earned. Shit like that. He
yeah.
understands,
Hmm.
right? And even though he might say the exact same words to a person, right? That somebody on a suicide hotline might say to them, they can't ever relate. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, yeah.
if they wanted a successful suicide hotline, they would hire people who have lost their children, been through fucking war, been through the divorce court, been through fucking social anxieties or alienation or abuse from their parents. Those would be the people they hire, but guess what? Because of their fucking conditions and what they've been through, they're not qualified.
No. Oh,
It,
man. Yeah.
ain't that some fucked up shit?
It is because you would want people who can empathize, who can feel what, like you said, that understand what you're experiencing and, and give you a fresh outlook. I
Yeah,
mean, give you hope, that it's not over. It doesn't have to be over.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
40 and I feel like I'm getting to be an old man, but for me, it's not over. It's
no,
not
our
over. I'm
journey
going.
isn't done, my friend.
No,
I
I'm gonna
have
keep
a I have a
grinding it
country to
out.
conquer.
Yeah, yeah. I got
But
friends and I'm just so grateful. Man, it's I'm loving, I don't love the suffering, but it's like if there's a reason for it, I want to know why. And I've
well,
asked those questions and they're very hard. Those are hard answers sometimes.
you can pretty much sum up most of the Western world. Well, most men in the world anyway, and children suffering, right? Up to the dissolving of the family, dissolving
Mhm.
of the community, and the washing away of those traits that made us moral and ethical, and our values were completely sold.
Yeah.
And we basically signed up for a emotional and mental and physical enslavement.
Hmm.
We've traded all that for everything that built our society from the fucking cave up. It's gone. And all we can do is try to, even if it defies the law, right? This government law, man law, right? If
Hmm.
it defies the man law, but is still fucking good with the moral law, we
Hmm.
need to start doing that too.
Absolutely.
You know what?
Yeah.
I am going to make sure that, well, I can't make sure, but I'm hoping most people are looking at what's going on, right? And what's being done to us by these governments. And I hope that they are squirreling away some freedom seed planters, as they say,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I will never, never hold you defending your life or the lives of your children against you.
No.
And I don't care if you're putting freedom seeds in me. I will never hold it against you.
Yeah.
Good for you. You did the
That's
right
it.
thing.
That's right. That's it.
And nobody ever said the right thing was the legal thing. Not
No.
once.
Or the easy thing.
Or the fucking dude, the right thing is generally the hard thing.
Yep.
So like I've stated, if the idea of putting on the sheep's clothing and playing along with the game is
Yeah.
all you need, by all means.
Yeah.
But I think that you should be wearing a bandana on your arm so
Yeah.
we freedom loving people and people who want to fix our society and our countries can identify you
Yeah.
as
That's
a,
why I
government
think there's
supporter.
so many people waking up to that. It's like I'm not really, big conservative or anything like that, but I like Matt Walsh for that sake. He will actually get in people's faces, not be violent with them, but call them out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
You're not going to come
Well,
in here and tell us it's okay to tell kids they can, you know, be a cat.
yeah. Like I said, man, I was watching I think it was an episode of Tim Pool, and they were talking about people who were in the military going through that diversity training, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted to stand up and say, like, this is nothing but a bunch of fucking bullshit, but they were too afraid to do it because of how much criticism and backlash they would get from the other people there.
Oh.
And that criticism and backlash would be absolutely supported by the people who were in charge.
Yeah.
They would love to get people won't stand up because they're afraid of being shunned.
Mm.
So what are you supposed to do with that?
Oof.
Fear works, homie. Fear
It
works.
does.
Fear fucking works like a charm.
Mm.
And that's a sad state of affairs right there.
Yeah. Or getting just so comfortable that you'll just, give up a little at a time,
Yeah.
as long as you
Well,
don't lose,
this this wasn't
yourself.
this wasn't done overnight.
No.
It's been going on for decades, right? Submit a little here. Okay. Submit a little more. Okay. Submit a little more. Well, I don't like this submitting. No, come on now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You
The
said,
NP
you
the
said,
NPCs.
yeah,
Yeah.
you said, come on, man. No,
Come on.
man.
Afghanistan, that was 4 days ago.
Yeah, come on,
you
man.
know, if it wasn't so sad, you know, it would be hilarious.
Yeah. I hope that long after we're dead, people do look at it and say, look how fucked up they were.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll probably be the same thing being said about people right now, or people are saying right now about people back in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Look at those
Oh
silly
yeah.
people. We would never let that happen. Oh, yes, daddy government, come stick something else in me. Yes, my neighbor over there does have a gun buried in his backyard.
Mm.
You should go and take him to a gulag and then, take him out back at the chemical shed and shoot him.
That is the one thing I like about Jordan Peterson is he will say that, if you were actually faced in, uh those detention camps, it's very valiant now to say that I would be brave.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody's
Very
brave. And, you
Everybody's
know,
brave on the other side.
I think that's where, like, Hermit had his biggest problem with what I had to say, or,
Hmm.
what he was confused in what I was saying, whatever the case may be,
Hmm.
is he basically looked into a beast eye, right? And it fucking terrified him.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. He has nothing to be ashamed of.
Hmm.
Nothing. I'm terrified of the family courts too. Okay? But
Yeah.
I'm not that terrified that I wouldn't take a stand to put them motherfuckers down.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Um, the idea that we let the fear control us is exactly what they want.
Yeah.
They want to take people as examples. Like I stated, when they were going through these other countries, the Nazis were going through these other countries, going to small villages, rounding everybody up, picking a select few, and hanging them. That's what our government does by using the jail system or the SWAT teams, right?
Oh yeah.
That's how they keep the fear of God in us. They are doing public executions every fucking day. I'm sorry to say, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And if you want to just think about it for a few minutes, you know what I mean? How many laws are on the books now? You literally can't fucking stick your tongue out to the left side and stand on your right leg on a Wednesday because it offended somebody once, long, long ago in the fucking history of time.
Yeah.
You're going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't ran into a great uh, ton of that in my town, but it's
It's there though.
yeah, yeah.
You don't
It's
have
one
to.
of those wild things like my factory job. I clock in, I go to my press that I work, and then I don't hear from anybody for 8, 9, 10 hours, and it's good. And then I clock out and I leave. It's pretty nice, um, but it doesn't pay great. I'm really fortunate that going to the railroad, I'll probably be working with mostly men,
Yeah, most likely.
and I'm really excited about that because I don't want to be surrounded with the purple hairs. Like,
Well,
and not just because they have purple hair, but it's
no, I understand. It's nice to finally connect with people
mhm.
with similar values and similar ideas and similar experiences. Like I said, my one brother, he can relate because his girls were taken from him at a young age, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, if he had the support group that we have now,
Mhm.
that's available right now, even though it's being, censored and shadow banned all over the fucking internet. If he
Mhm.
had this kind of community, his life would have been a hell of a lot better
Mhm. Mm.
because he suffered in silence. You
Oh.
know, so luckily he pulled through it, and he pulled through it by bettering his life. He basically took a red pill without even knowing he was taking a red pill.
Yeah,
Right?
that's good.
That is good. Anyway, brother, we're coming up on 2 hours and 17 or no, almost 18 minutes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I think we've had a great conversation. Do you want to just roll it down right now and call it a
Yeah.
night?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go to sleep, and I appreciate our conversation, Chris. I mean, you're one cool dude, man, and I like Dak too, and Gape, of course, and Hermit. I love all these guys, but yeah, dude, thanks, man. This was awesome.
Dude, hopefully many more to come, and hopefully you'll keep us updated and the job goes well.
I will,
Um,
man. I
if
look forward
anybody,
to these conversations. I really do.
me too. I mean, this is my therapy, right?
Oh, gotta have it. Gotta
Yeah.
have it.
This when I have shitty fucking nights and shitty days thinking about the kids that I'm missing,
Yeah,
this is generally where I go.
that's good, man.
Um, and like I said, I look forward to lots more, and I'm hoping we'll have many more with everybody. And this community is the tribe that we've been so desperately looking for since we've lost our sense of community.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? We're
yeah.
naturally gravitating towards each other, just like things gravitate towards each other in the cosmos. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and when we come together, um, I like to think of it as that old saying. The difference between five armies and one is one single army with one single objective. Right? We can
Yeah.
come together as one. All right, brother. Well, let's shut this down. Don't go anywhere, but let's shut this down. And I want to thank everybody for viewing, and hopefully I can get this uploaded properly.
Nice.
Right.
Man, cool.
So thank you for coming, Doug, and thanks to everybody for viewing.
Thank you, Chris.
No worries, brother. Good night.